I know I'm a little late this morning. Constance and I are both feeling a little better. Had a nice, good night's sleep, and we're coughing less. So I think we're on the road to recovery. So a little late this morning. I took my time walking, and I was uh, thought about addressing a question that I got an email recently about uh, someone who rightly so, justifiably so, uh, challenged what they assumed I was presenting as my credentials to talk about the Kabbalah. Uh, and I guess I hadn't read the Chicken Cabala, and my sort of tongue-in-cheek uh, identification with Rabbi Lamed Ben Clifford and everything else. And they said, well, what qualifies you to speak on this? Um, it goes all the way back to almost 50 years ago when I was almost attacked during a talk. Well, not 40 years ago, um, because I was mispronouncing Kabbalistic words. Uh, I really don't have, I have absolutely no academic credentials whatsoever. Okay. I readily confess that. The only reason I graduated from high school was that I had the lead in the school musical. Okay. They couldn't flunk Harold Hill. Is what it came right down to. And not only that, they not couldn't flunk me, but none of the teachers could give me below a C average in all my classes. So I never even took. I think I had attention deficit disorder or something like that, or just I'm just plain stupid and lazy. And when I went to college, I went to college more or less just to attend the 1960s. I went to college because I had joined the Students for a Democratic Society and was politically radical and active even in the last 2 years of high school. So I wanted to continue that and continue my opposition to the Vietnam War and segregation and things like that. And but I was literally a drama major. Okay, I studied acting at Orange Coast College, and I took other classes too, but I just was trying to learn how to act like a student instead of be a student kind of thing. And so as I dropped out in my second year of college when Constance came and we dropped out, and I have no college credentials whatsoever. And this individual was sort of more or less demanding, to to see my academic credentials. Well, I got none. All my degrees are Masonic and magical order degrees. Okay. So, and as far as being a rabbi, I made myself up. As a matter of fact, I've been making myself up since I was about 2.5. That's what I do, and that's who I am. As John Carradine's son, or the man that played Kane's son in the Kung Fu Part 2, who said, "Look, I'm not my father. I don't do kung fu. I'm a cop. That's what I do. That's who I am. That's what I do." Well, anyway, what got me into Kabbalah? I wrote, my good friend Anita Kraft wrote a wonderful book called the Kabbalist Workbook, or the Kabbalah Workbook. And she asked me to write a little introduction to it. And so I just wanted to, instead of wasting my time telling this individual, thanking him for the taking the time to poke fun at me. My introduction to Kabbalah was the indirect result of my youthful involvement with the Rosicrucian order Amorc. Encouraged by my older brother, Mark, I joined the order in the early 1970s in hopes it would give me something spiritual and wholesome to occupy my nervous energy as I transitioned from the recording artist's life of sex, drugs, and rock and roll to the docility of a domesticated husband and father. Amorc's monograph teachings were delivered promptly each week by mail and were an offbeat combination of solitary ritual meditations and junior high science and chemistry experiments. Much as I hated school, I found the Amorc material oddly fascinating and inspiring. I was nothing short of ecstatic when I attended my first convocation service at a local lodge in Long Beach. I discovered then and there that I absolutely loved dressing up in spooky robes, intoning strange chants, and strutting around in the dark. I ascended up the degree structure of the organization, and I learned certain mystical perks could be redeemed. I was informed by fellow members that when I reached a certain degree level, I think it was 4th degree in Amorc, I would qualify to order and receive additional monograph instructions in certain mystically related subjects. One such extracurricular monograph series was on the Holy Cabala, Kabbalah, and I impatiently waited for the time when I'd be qualified to register for the teachings. When that day finally arrived, I sent off a money order for the course and eagerly awaited my initiation into the mysteries of the Holy Cabala. The 6 monographs arrived in one envelope, and I read all 6 in one sitting. There was a brief historical sketch and a bibliography, but no meditations, no rituals, no exercises. Indeed, there was nothing that made any sense to me at all. In fact, most of the text was filled with dire warnings to the student about what the Cabala is not. I cannot resist satirically paraphrasing. Cabala is spelled K-A-B-B-A-L-A-H. If you run across literature that spells it with only one B, it is not really Cabala, and you should run away from it. If you run across literature that spells it with a Q or a C, or indeed any other way than K-A-B-B-A-L-A-H, it is not real Cabala, and you should stop reading it and run away. Cabala is not something that is written down, so don't expect to discover anything about it by reading stuff. Cabala is only passed orally from one pious Jewish man over the age of 40, but under 80, who is rich enough to have lots of leisure time to devote to studying Cabala, to another Jewish man, over the age of 40 but under 80, who is also rich enough to have lots of leisure time to devote to studying Cabala. Cabala has nothing to do with a diagram called the Tree of Life. If you see a Tree of Life, run away. Cabala has nothing to do with tarot cards. If you see tarot cards, run away. Cabala has nothing to do with magic. If you see anything to do with magic, run away. Cabala is the secret, esoteric, hidden, forbidden, furtive, and most likely dangerous study of the Holy Bible. And it is certainly not for presumptuous young dilettantes like you. In fact, you should be embarrassed for even being curious as to what Cabala might be about. Thank you for waiting 2 years for these monographs and for sending $15. Now, run away. That was 1972. Things have changed in the world of Cabala. Cabala with a Q, Cabala with a Cabala, Cabala with a C. Cabala is everywhere. Books, lessons, teachings, organizations, even videos, movies, and CDs can be purchased, attended, viewed, and listened to whenever you like. What remains a rarity, however, are competent practical instructions as to how to actually incorporate the fundamentals of Cabala into one's daily life and routine. For me, it's been a hit and miss comedy of errors and accidental triumphs, and perhaps that's how it should always be. But it's clear to me that the work needn't be harder on the poor student than is absolutely necessary. Okay, that's not the end of my introduction. But I end the introduction by reprinting what I ended the Chicken Cabala book with. And it's called The Secret of the Shem HaMephorash. The Shem HaMephorash is the divided name of God. Okay, and just briefly, part of the Cabala starts with the premise that God is everything, God is in everything, everything is God. And if you looked hard enough at anything, meditated hard enough on anything, you'll eventually see everything. Just like in the Buddhists, the Buddha nature is everywhere. And you can just point and go, Buddha, 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 Buddha. You can even point at monsters on TV and think, Buddha, Buddha. But the Cabala sort of engages your ruach, or your intellect, in such a way as to get it so engages that it starts to reach a level of transcendence, that to go any further, you have to sort of even break free of that intellectual chain reaction. But if you use the sacred word Yod He Vav He, okay, and the Jehovah, or the great name of God, everything could be sort of encapsulated in that. And look at each individual letters as literally 1/4 of totality. And you add up the letters. There's 10 and 5 and 6 and 5, and it adds up to 26. And then you explore the mathematical and sort of philosophical truths behind 26. And first of all, it's 13 times 2. It's the duality of 13, and 13 is the word for achad and love. Okay. So it's Yod He Vav He is the a way to initially break up a singularity into two parts. And they squeezed as much blood of profundity that they could out of 26 and playing around with 26. So they said, let's just spell it like this. We'll put the yod on top, and then right under it go yod hey. And then right under that go yod hey vav. And right under that go yod hey vav hey. It's still yod hey vav hey, but it's now in a triangle, a tetratrix. And if we added those letters together, it's 72. And 72 is like 36 times 2, and 36 is the degrees in a circle. And it gets so cool, okay? But they also said, well, look hard enough at 26, you'll see 72. So there must be a really complicated name of God that just isn't 4 letters. It's uses 72 as the base. And that's the divided name of God, the Shem name, HaMephorash, divided. Okay. So in the Chicken Cabala, I tried to just take 72 words to describe that process, how the singularity became the many. and I said it was the last 72 words of Rabbi Lamed Ben Clifford, the guy that was making fun of me doesn't believe in, and he shouldn't. Okay, so the secret of the Shem HaMephorash. That's how Regardi pronounced it. And he was Ashkenazi Jew. Shem HaMephorash is how he pronounced it. The last written words of Rabbi Lamed Ben Clifford. God is. Undivided God is pure potentiality and realizes nothing. God can only realize itself by becoming many and then experiencing all possibilities through the adventures of its many parts. The ultimate purpose for my existence is to exhaust my individual potentiality. My love of God and God's love of me springs from the great secret we share. The secret is, God and I will achieve supreme enlightenment at the same moment. And that's what I'll leave you with this Maunday, Thursday. Go wash the feet of somebody. How many of us could actually do that? It's a pretty cool gesture. Maunday, Thursday is a big day in the Scottish Rite too. We usually have ceremonies on Maunday, Thursday. It's the day before Good Friday. Good Friday is the day before Holy Saturday. Holy Saturday is the day you stayed down, and Easter Sunday is Easter Sunday. So we don't officially celebrate those holidays as particularly religious thing, but generally as a spiritual metaphor. And I guess the gardener is my cue to stop it for today. Until tomorrow, Good Friday. Be good to each other, but be good to yourself. Wash your own feet. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Love is the law. Love under will.